So, in case you don't remember, at the tail end of 2016, oh my god, that was over a year ago. I can't believe I've been doing this for this long. That was before Trump was inaugurated, even. I looked at a magazine called the Philadelphian Trumpet, and it was atrocious, as you'd expect. It was a right wing Republican magazine pushing the same pro discrimination, but remember, MLK was a Republican, agenda that we've seen. Well, I found another one. It took me a little bit to find a date on this one. It's in. You can sort of find it at the bottom of a couple pages. It's November through December 2017, so it's a little old. But I saw this recently. I just started flipping through. I couldn't resist. So let's dig into the Philadelphian Trumpet Special Report King Me and just see what this is. Also, notice Putin on the front. To any of my older audience out there, any of you guys old enough to remember when Republicans were against Russia? And walls? So, I started flipping through this, and I found this thing is about 36 pages, by the way. And really, the first thing of note's on about page 17 or so. I found some good articles, don't get me wrong, it just took a while to get there. You see, they have a little cartoon for us. Now, I know you can't see it all that well because of cameras, but I'm going to show you it and I'm going to read you. This is the Dictator's Handbook, and I know it's flipped, but again, I'm going to read you the text. You need to look at the pictures. 1. Develop charisma. To increase your political power, an inspiring strongman needs to be popular. This is especially true in a democratic republic. To build a popular following, personal charisma and eloquent ordinarity are indisputable skills. Yes, you may be so charismatic you nearly primary an incumbent president and then win the most states in U.S. history in the Electoral College. And, 2. Identify national enemies. Okay, so, you see, Iraq over there. Nah, too easy. But also look at Reagan's fear-mongering over the USSR. Don't get me wrong, not all of that was completely even unjustified. I'm just saying it's objective. He did it. He did that constantly. 3. Consolidate power. And this really goes with number 4, which is alter the Constitution. Sometimes I just want to ask these people who they think wrote the Patriot Act. The one that completely destroyed the Constitution. They'll probably tell me it was well-known Democrat Joseph Stalin, but that's besides the point. Number 5, suppress the press. I know I kind of joked about doing the Bush example before, but the press rolled over for him. Oh, you guys completely ignore that, mind you. Actually, anyone who has, older copies of articles from these guys, by the way, from back when Bush was president, because I think they've been around for that long. Or just quotes from these people in general. It doesn't say who wrote this one on the page. But, just people who work here, find me quotes from them when Bush was doing this stuff. I actually want to know who wants to better be defending them. And 6, crack down on opposition. Specifically by saying you're either with them or with the terrorists. I know I keep going back to that example, but just a reminder, that was only 2 presidents ago. Okay, it wasn't like it was 1952. No, that guy was president from 2001 to 2009 and had immense Republican support the entire time. Republicans absolutely loved him. And still, a lot of Republicans still love him. There have been polls, Secular Talk has covered them, where a majority of Republicans say they would still support George W. Bush to this day if he ran again. And he could run again. He can't run again, obviously. keep that in mind with these people's worldview. The very next page contains another great bit. The antidote to toxic masculinity. I remember last night I covered Paul Joseph Watson's War on Men video. I've said in the past I don't see a difference between a lot of these newer conservatives, people like Jordan Peterson or Ben Shapiro, and people like Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity. A lot of people think that's hyperbolic. However, I'm just going to read you this article and point out a couple of the similarities, as well as point out that this is complete nonsense. Now, the article starts by simply talking about the scandals of people like Weinstein, you know, and it starts off okay. There are some weird lines in there, like, for instance, the rules governing many sectors of society have changed overnight. Immoral acts that were tolerated, even encouraged, are now repugnant. Well, if you call them immoral, doesn't that make it a good thing that they're now repugnant again? But yeah, I agree, societies do change. However, at least they say things like, in many cases, evil predatory men are receiving the punishment they richly deserve. So they start off with this kind of, no, we're not against it spiel that you see them do all the time. And then it goes on to actually, like, their next section is called Toxic Masculinity, and it's just essentially made fun of the 5 social justice warriors Tucker Carlson invites on to look like he has a point. Here we go. If you are a male and you subscribe to traditional norms or behavior, a growing number of people in this world, that's a complete lie, it's incredibly small, and it's shrinking every day. Some in influential positions, citation needed, consider you toxic, and what do you do with a toxic substance? You eliminate it. There are some people who have been spurred by these scandals into a rational, good faith effort to reduce sexual misconduct and raise moral standards, but that cause is being hijacked by an army of amoral, anti-religion. Religion leads to immoral things all the time. Like, even Dennis Prager has admitted that. You idiots. You idiots. And again, they did a thing where it's like, we're not against it, but it's being hijacked. Okay, no. You're just making that up. There's still, the most vocal people are still reasonable. You're only spotlighting the unreasonable people because it helps your cause. And the unreasonable people in the Republican Party, people like Sean Hannity and Paul Joseph Watson and Alex Jones, you guys make that mainstream. Anti-traditional individuals and institutions with a more radical agenda. These people are seizing this opportunity to aggressively advance a long-held ambition to redefine, isolate, and even eradicate traditional masculinity. My God, this is the same thing I went over on how Watson last night. Just watch that if you want more details on why this is complete nonsense. It then goes on and just makes fun of random college classes that probably do exist somewhere. I'm not denying that. I'm just denying that they're mainstream appeal or that they're liked by a majority of people, which these people seem to think they are. However, it then goes on and makes this statement that I nearly bursted out laughing in it. You ready? If you consider yourself a traditional man, or if you are a woman in a relationship with one, you are a target. Okay, 1, define traditional man. Wearing high heels used to be masculine. It was done, horsebackers rode them. Horsebackers wore them to help them with archery. That's just true. That's just true. And if you're a woman who's in a relationship, well, look, I don't mind. I don't care. It's up to you. I don't care at this point. So there's probably someone out there who said, oh no, ban all that. And I look at those people and I don't think about them. Because they're maybe 3 people. If you are a male who exhibits dominance, perhaps you're a bit of an extrovert. Maybe you occasionally raise your voice and can give an order or two. You are a target. Okay, define dominance. There's nothing wrong with telling someone to do something. There is something wrong with physically beating them. For instance, those are both technically forms of dominance. But, okay, I don't think they're actually in support of this, or at least I hope they're not. But I'm just saying you should probably pick your words better. If you are a man who suppresses his emotions, who rarely sheds a tear or shares his feelings, you are a target. Because there is a decent amount of evidence that's not necessarily completely healthy. Now, there are people who are just naturally like that, don't get me wrong, and to those people, no, they're perfectly fine. I don't mind them. However, and this is my problem with a lot of paleo-conservatism, paleo-libertarianism, whatever you want to call it, traditional libertarianism, whatever it is. It assumes that everyone is the exact same, which is just objectively untrue. They then talk about how it's not the problem, masculinity isn't the problem, which, to be fair, I do somewhat agree with. I do somewhat agree with that statement. However, while they claim the left misidentifies the problem, they misidentify the solution. Here's the article. When you think of Weinstein and these other men, the fundamental problem is not traditional masculinity. The central issue isn't the masculine tendency to exert dominance or treat women differently than men. It isn't even the abuse of power. The fundamental issue is acute selfishness and vanity and a desperate lack of self-discipline. These are not male-only sins. In fact, the Bible says male and female heart is deceitful above all things and depravely wicked. Various translations of these verses say that the human heart or human nature is terminally ill. The way of human nature is the way of vanity, lust, and greed, of jealousy and envy, of competition and strife, of rebellion and deceit. Oh God, you know someone's scared now. I'm scared, guys. Explained Herbert Armstrong in The Incredible Human Potential. Harvey Weinstein and Kevin Spacey and the rest of these individuals were walking in the way of human nature. This doesn't justify their behavior. Okay, no, that's the exact excuse someone would use to justify it, but it does explain it. Now, okay, a good amount of that is fair. However, their solution is interesting. And for men, this means developing more masculinity. That is right, proper biblical masculinity. If toxic masculinity is the problem, biblical masculinity is the solution. Hey, doesn't the Bible say that if a man rapes a woman, all he has to do is pay the father? So if Harvey Weinstein had just paid those women's fathers, there wouldn't be an issue here. Now, it doesn't say anything about if it's a gay rape, so Takai and Spacey are kind of screwed. But, you know. But that isn't their only opinion on God expressed throughout this magazine. Of course, we covered their religious views last time. However, they have an article, I kid you not, called The Fatal Flaw in Modern Science, in which a section is called Where Rebellion Against God Begins. Let's read. In Eden, Adam and Eve rejected the tree of life and ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. As consequence, God expelled them and cut them off from the tree of life. From that point, God allowed human begins to divide. I don't think that's grammatically correct, first off. To devise their own system of science, religion, and education apart from his revelation and direction. We have accumulated more and more godless knowledge, and we have become more and more disdainful of God. We are following in the footsteps of the first man and woman. Just as they did, we say we don't want God, we want knowledge. But doesn't the explosion of evil around us prove that we can't acquire true knowledge on our own? Okay, one, what explosion of evil? Like there isn't any. Evil's around the same rate it's always been, dude. And if anything, I'd argue that post-enlightenment, we've gotten better at containing evil. What do you consider evil nowadays? Someone like Dick Cheney or Henry Kissinger? Horrible people, killed tons of them. What they consider not even evil, just kind of weird back in the day? Someone like Genghis Khan, who, no joke, once burned down an entire village and all record of their existence because they didn't help him in a war. And for that matter, I actually find it kind of funny that the first story in the Bible is like, oh, if you go and question this, if you go fact check this, you're just going to become evil. Yeah. That's its first story. That's its opening. That's its chapter 1. Is don't question this, you'll turn evil. Just, wow. Oh my god, just wow. And the rest of the article is essentially that. It's just saying, oh no, you see, science rejects God, which isn't even entirely true. There are some amount of theistic scientists out there. They're not all that common, mind you, but they exist. And I think there is a weak but existent argument you could make for a deist entity. However, I don't find that argument convincing. That's why I'm an atheist after all. But you could make it if you wanted to. And for that matter, I don't even hate people who follow religions or anything like that. I don't care. But if you're going to do it, don't then complain other people may be proving you wrong. Or in this case, not proving you right. And this is something I didn't see last time. I don't know if it was even in the magazine last time. I don't have the copy anymore. Yeah, out of all the things I threw out, the thing I'm most disappointed I threw out was an issue of the Philadelphian Trumpet. But, guys, they have a website. I should have expected that. I just never crossed my mind. So, yeah, we're coming back to them in the future. I've come to these guys before. Every time it's led to immense entertainment. So, I don't know. I think on a slow day from now on, I'm just going to come to these guys and just look through a couple of them and just start laughing. But that's it. I'm Ephrom, and good night.